Hey, what's going on? Daniel here. Welcome back to another video. You might be wondering, where the hell have I been? Well, if you follow me on Instagram, you know exactly where I've been. I've been in Nigeria, I've been traveling, I've been attending weddings, and I've been having a good time. And all thanks to being able to work remotely and travel at the same time. And speaking of work and travel, I came across an article on BBC, and the article is titled "The Workers Quitting Digital Nomadism," and that's something that really piques my interest, and I just want to talk about it in this video. So this article basically just chronicles the lifestyle of some digital nomads who have since quit this lifestyle and went back to their old lives, or just a different type of lifestyle which requires them to be stable, to have a permanent home base, and not really travel as much as they used to be. Now, the reason why I want to make this video is because I've seen this myself too many times. People who think the digital nomad lifestyle is something out of a fairy tale, and they just want to live it as much as possible, and just be digital nomads and travel and work remotely by the beach and do all this kind of interesting things, which they later find out to not be the case. So this video is titled "How to Live a Sustainable Digital Nomad Lifestyle." I've been doing this for well over 2 years, almost 3 years at this point. I think I know a thing or two about living sustainably as a digital nomad, and I quickly realized when I started traveling that the traveling as a lifestyle thing is just not for me. And how did I figure this out? So when I first started traveling, I bought a one-way ticket to Mexico, and I was in Mexico City for about 2 months, and I quickly realized after trying to do some day trips and trying to document my travel, trying to become a travel vlogger, if you will, that it's just not for me. It's too much stress, it's too much work, and I just could not justify what I was trying to do with the energy that I was expending and how tired I became after the end of the day. And I just quickly realized that this is not for me, and I quickly pivoted my lifestyle and whatever content I was doing into something else. And it takes some people a while, or it takes them a while to come to terms with the fact that not everyone is cut out to live this lifestyle as a digital nomad that we see on Instagram. So for some people it works long term, so for some people it works short term, and for some of us it just does not work at all. So in order to avoid burnout and depression, which is what the people who have been interviewed in this article have been complaining about, burnout and depression. In order to avoid that, I just want to give you a few tips and strategies that you might want to implement in order to not fall into this endless cycle of burnout and depression, and trying to justify why living as a digital nomad might even be for you anyway. And the first thing you need to do is to ask yourself if you can afford a life of constant travel. Now, this is the number one problem that I've seen people have. I've seen people be digital nomads. All of their personality, their identity is built around this idea of being a digital nomad, and after a few months they have to go back home or go get a job or go back to their old lifestyle because they simply cannot afford it. I've seen people literally, and I say this with all sense of humility, beg for money, like beg for food while being digital nomads. And I don't think that's a scenario that you want to find yourself if you're trying to live this lifestyle. So you need to ask yourself, is this something that you will be able to constantly afford? Do you have a remote job that you can take around with you that still allows you to make money while you travel? This is something that a lot of people do not put into consideration before buying a one-way ticket. They just save up a few $1,000s. They fly to somewhere in South America or Southeast Asia, and they think that they will figure it out while they go, and they never really figure it out. So that is the number one problem that I see people have. They run out of money and they're now stuck in hostels and just trying to figure something out along the way. They jump off the cliff hoping to grow wings on the way down, which does not really happen. So you need to ask yourself if this is something you can afford for the long term. And the next question you need to ask yourself is this the lifestyle that I truly want for myself? A lifestyle of no friends, no relationships, missing important events with your family. And that is the true reality of being a digital nomad. You will be alone a lot of the time. You will not be able to, create friendship, form bonds with people, simply because everybody else is traveling and you are in these places for, the least possible amount of time. And it's just not something that you're able to do because everybody else, like I said, is traveling and people will be gone in just a few days. Is this something that you're comfortable doing? If you're someone who's been around family your whole life, maybe you've thrived amongst a group of friends, maybe you might want to reconsider being a digital nomad, because that's not exactly what the lifestyle is about. Of course, for someone like myself, I truly enjoy my alone time, and I do have a lot of those days where I'm just by myself working and I have other stuff to fill my time. If you're not working remotely and you're not a content creator, you're not doing anything meaningful with all the free time that you have, it gets boring pretty fast. And so you want to ask yourself, if you have other stuff, other things that can take up that time, all of that free time that you have, you can only lay by the beach for so long. You can only go on hiking for so long. How many mountains do you want to hike? How many beaches do you want to sit on and just lay down and drink margaritas all day? Like, it's not that simple and it's not that straightforward. So you need to ask yourself if that's the kind of lifestyle that you crave. The next thing I see people do, and I've alluded to this previously, is that they build their lifestyle around being a digital nomad, around travel. And I've seen people suffer depression and anxiety simply because after, if they think about letting go of this lifestyle, they do not really know who they are. And that's one of the complaints that one of the people interviewed in this article really gave, which is that she struggled a lot to find out who she really was after she stopped traveling full time. And if you want to build your entire lifestyle, your entire identity around being a digital nomad, around traveling, around planning trips and things of that nature, you need to think about the long term. Is this something you see yourself doing in 5 years, in 10 years, in 15 years? If not, then maybe it's time to reconsider your position on being a digital nomad, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Some days you just don't want to be outside creating content. Some days you just want to be inside and just cook a meal, just like I do right here. Make a meal, watch Netflix, watch sports. You want to do normal stuff, right? And that's something you need to consider as well. For example, I haven't seen as many places as I am expected to, simply because I enjoy solo travel. I just want to be in a place for as long as possible, like to make friends, to bond. Like, I'm back in this country right now. The last time I left here, I made a vow to never come back for a while at least, and I found myself coming back after 3 months. Why? Simply because I've built a community here. Like, I have a laid back lifestyle here. I am able to focus on my work, make videos, do client work, and all of these things. It just feels really convenient for me, and that's something to consider as well. Sometimes slow is actually fast. Now, one other thing I want to talk about is that you need to consider your passport. If you have a weaker passport, it might actually be a blessing rather than a curse. For example, I have a passport from Nigeria, and before I go anywhere, I have to research. I have to look for places that I either will not have a hard time getting visas for, or I can have visa-free travel, or I can get visa on arrival. So that allows me to put a lot of thought into my planning, into my travels. Unlike someone who has a US passport, Canadian passport, EU passport, where they can get access to almost anywhere in the world, that gives them a sense of, I would say, false sense of freedom, in that sense that they can just travel and just move as fast as possible because they can access all these places. So sometimes having a weaker passport can be a blessing, and if that's you, of course, rather than look at it as a curse, they should actually look at it as a way to actually relax and just slow down and plan your travel, and just take all that time that you not spend traveling places and use that time to actually invest into something, build a business and things of that nature. And the next thing I want to talk about is to get your money up. Money is one thing that I see a lot of people struggle with when they travel. I talked about this when I started this video. Travel is stressful when you're just pinching pennies and you're not able to live as freely as you desired or as you imagined. So being able to travel slowly is something that has allowed me to focus on work, focus on business, focus on content creation, focus on other things that are not travel related, and which has in turn increased the income that I make over time. And one thing that lady in this interview alluded to was that after she settled down and traveled slower are, she's been able to triple her income, and that's not very unusual at all for people who have a permanent base and just make travel a part of their lives. So get your money up, because those sunsets are not as pretty if you're eating like $2 ramen on the streets of Bangkok or something. I do not want to do that. I want to be able to live in apartments that are geared towards productivity, that allows me to work, that allows me to have a good time, host friends, and do all of the things that I really want to do. And lastly, I want to talk about your peace of mind. In order to be able to live sustainably as a digital nomad, you need to be able to invest in your peace of mind, and I'm talking about something like health insurance, which brings me to one that I enjoy so much, which is Safety Wing. Safety Wing is the digital nomad health insurance, which provides health insurance for you if you're traveling, if you're a remote worker, and it's just a very seamless way to get yourself protected, and you don't have to worry about all of the unforeseeables that could happen while you travel. So invest in Safety Wing. I have a link down in the description if you want to check it out. Monthly health insurance is just like opting in for a Netflix or any kind of subscription, really, and you can cancel anytime that you're not using it or that you're not traveling. So check out the first link in the description and grab your health insurance from Safety Wing. I hope this video has been helpful, give you some ideas on how to live sustainably as a digital nomad. I've been doing this now for 3 years, and it's been a wild ride. I've enjoyed it so much. Of course, there are some days where you just want to lay back and not do much, and that's okay too. So go check out the links in the description if you want to speak with me on what types of visas what types of visas are available to you, nomad visas, and just talk about travel and how to do it sustainably. I have a link in the description as well. You can book a call with me, and you can send me a message anytime. Also, don't forget to follow the Instagram, and I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. Again, I'm Daniel, and I will see you in the next video. Take care now. Bye.